everyone, I'm Grace. I'm with the Chamber Orchestra of the Springs with Maestro Wilson, and we're talking about our upcoming concerts on October 6th and 7th. We're playing Debussy's La Mer, Britten Serenade for tenor, horn, and strings, and Mozart's Movimento.
Yeah.
What can you tell me
Number
about
11,
these concerts? Number
right?
11, yes.
Number 11. Well, we're calling this Waves of Poetry, and I think the poetry is very obvious in the Britten. I mean, this is all Old English poetry, but it's a brilliant piece. And so, lyric tenor, and we have Eapen Leubner. He's done the lead in some Opera Theater of the Rockies productions. He's a great tenor. And so there's solo tenor, and there's also solo horn. It's like his ghost or his counterpart in this. And Michael Yopp will be our solo horn player. It is just it's not just the poetry of the words, the poetry of the music is also there. It is such a cool piece. And and it hasn't been played in Colorado Springs, I think, for a long time. So the poetry obviously comes there. The waves, of course, and more poetry comes from Debussy, right? This is really hard for you guys.
This is extremely difficult.
This is not a style that we do in the United States enough.
Right, and how is this arrangement different that we're doing compared to the original version?
Right. So the original version was for a very, very large orchestra. And a very fine orchestrator, Marlene Helder, has reduced the piece down so that it can be done with a chamber orchestra. And so it's just another way to bring this great music to audiences. So it's going to be a nice contrast. You know, the Philharmonic played the full La Mer, I think a couple seasons ago with Joseph. Beautiful sound, great things happening. And so it's going to be really interesting to hear this in a more, a more focused kind of intimate setting. And it just washes over you. It's really incredible music.
I agree. And how does the Mozart fit into this program?
Mozart is poetry. It just is. I was just working with my conducting class at UCCS last week, and we pulled up a Mozart score, and I pulled it off of IMSLP as an example, and I accidentally pulled up the manuscript because oftentimes they have the original manuscripts, and I pull up the original manuscript. And my students were like, "Whoa," because it's hard to read. We're used to nice print these days. So they were like, "Whoa, what's that?" And so we actually took a moment. We sort of paused and looked at this for just a moment. And there's that great moment in Amadeus, which is not a very factually correct film.
Right.
That's okay. It's a great film. I still love the film. But there's that great moment where Salieri is looking at the works of Mozart, and he's just flying. He's just so moved by it. And he's saying, he's so overwhelmed, and he puts his head back and he drops the music to the floor. And then when the moment's over, he also mentions, and not a single correction. It just poured out of Mozart so effortlessly, and it's just so perfect. It's not fair. You look at manuscripts of Beethoven. In fact, we did this in the class because we looked at this, and I was just pointing out. Notice, like, virtually no corrections. Everything just comes out perfect the first time. We went over to a Beethoven score, and Beethoven just
excellence everywhere.
Everywhere,
Yep.
and it's just so funny. So you always get that sense of just that easy flow of poetry, it's like listening to Shakespeare. It just flows. It's just perfect. So it's big contrast. Mozart, definitely classical period. Britten, definitely contemporary. Debussy, Impressionism. So we've got three very different periods, three different ideas. But I think these pieces have obvious connections if you really look at it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. And
Thank you.
I hope everyone joins us on Saturday and Sunday this week.